Good morning, everyone. My name is Manuel Silvera. I am one of the owners, along with my wife, Rachel Silvera, and my wonderful mother-in-law, Marilyn Edmund. We'd like to thank all of you for coming to help celebrate and share this wonderful event with us. Thank you. And before I hand the mic over, I'd like to acknowledge two individuals that we believe helped make this day happen. That's Jean Dubois and also Davida Engelman. I'd like to thank them very much. They helped us out a lot to get us to this wonderful day. So now I'll turn the mic over to Jean Dubois.
All right. I was the director of Dorchester Bay for 20 years, but even though I retired, it's hard to leave this neighborhood, right? It's a wonderful community. So when they said, can you help out with one family, I said, are you kidding? Of course, anytime. So I'm just an aunt, all right? I'm part of your extended family. I sleep in Rosendale, but I really love this neighborhood. So one family diner, this is what we're all dreaming about as the city's getting swept over by the economic tidal wave, right? And how do you protect your neighborhood? By getting local businesses to buy their buildings, right? So we have the Fernandez brothers. We work together with them in Upham's Corner, and they own America's Food Basket building and the liquor store. This family is one of the anchors. I call it the Cheers of Bowdoin Street, or the Victoria Diner of Bowdoin Street. This is Charlotte Ritchie's home office, or local office back in the day. So these anchor businesses are key, and this is an anchor like the health center is an anchor, and America's Food Basket. So the other thing that's important is this family. I mean, look at this is Rachel and Marilyn and her son-in-law Manny. That when the bank, and Boston Private Bank is awesome because they did the Village Market in Rosendale. And Jose Luis is very good. I've known him for years. So that's the other key, is this kind of like a family affair, right? They did the loan to open up the Village Market in Rosendale when a lot of other banks wouldn't go near that, right? The Bank of Boston did help with construction, but they did the business loan. So you want to really thank them. And that's another key, is having all these different lenders that are friends of your neighborhood. A lot of families on Henry Street bought three-deckers that Dorchester Bay acquired and renovated, and Beto Rosa's back there. He helped organize so the people had strength politically as a street. And so, again, you hear this same story. Local people with their local roots buying up stuff. A three-decker on Henry, businesses in the business district. And the other thing is, I wanted Marilyn to stand here and even say two things, because she's a woman-owned business. So Marilyn, she's terrified of speaking, but you can say two things.
I just want to thank everyone for coming this morning, celebrating with us. Thank you so much.
Work is having a strong tenant, Cesarius. So this family now owns both business buildings, the big building, and this almost went to two speculators. I won't describe them any more than that, but for them to back away. And I remember at one meeting I said, if you mess this up and this family has to go, everyone's going to hate you. But anyway, people had power, so Davida also helped did a lot of things. So I just wanted to say the last thing, the Barrows family, Tony, is he out there somewhere? But they have Cesarius, which is a very strong Cape Verdean business. So to me, these two businesses, Trinidad, Cape Verde, Latinos, this is how our neighborhood is here. So Mayor Walsh, I've known you a long time, and you know, it always takes a crowd, doesn't it? So he helped us with the Bay Street project over at Savin Hill, the big digital printing factory, and so many other projects like the Pearl Meats building that's now the food production building. So investing in local businesses and local home ownership is the key. Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you, Jean. Let me first of all congratulate everyone in this neighborhood. This
This diner, as Jean mentioned, was not only Charlotte's home office, it was Marie St. Flour's home office, it was Carlos Enrique's home office, it was Armando Cavallo's home office, it's going to be Liz Miranda's home office, it was Darren Howell's home office, it was my home office, it was Andrea Campbell's home office, Nick and everyone else that's here today. The beauty about today is that we see a business. When Davida called me probably about a year ago, we actually met here, and she was concerned about, her and Janet were concerned about the building being sold and the building being developed. This diner is such a big part of this community. Long before there was a Main Streets, long before there was involvement, long before there was activity on Bowdoin in a positive way, this restaurant was a part of our community. It employed folks, it fed folks. It was a place where a lot of conversations happened about this neighborhood and other neighborhoods in the city of Boston. A lot of political people who ran for office or who run for office have breakfast here. I did as mayor, I did as a state representative when I was running for state rep the first time. I was here. I can speak for everyone that's here. Annissa, Essaibi, George, who grew up not too far from this building. Frank Baker, who grew up not too far from this building. Andrea Campbell, who represents the next district. Nick Collins, who's the senator here now. Avandro, who served this district as a state representative. I want to thank all the elected officials, because when you come to an event, I can tell you this, I've gone to a lot of ribbon cuttings for businesses that are big and that millions and millions of dollars put into them. You don't get this type of people showing up. You don't get all the elected officials from the neighborhood showing up. So that's what this business shows. And also the community, the older community in the neighborhood. Thank you for investing in this diner. Thank you for being loyal customers and being important, because this is about the fabric of our community. As we think about Boston growing and changing, and it is changing, it is growing, and it's good. It's also important to remember the places in our communities that keep our neighborhoods neighborhoods. And this is one of the places, One Family Dining is one of the places that is the community. When people think about this neighborhood, what I think about is this diner in the health center, because the civic meetings happen at the health center. I think of the First Parish Church where Meeting House Hill goes. I think of St. Peter's, such a staple, important part of the community. So I just want to thank everybody who made this happen. I want to thank Boston Private Bank, obviously. I want to thank the community who's here today. I want to thank Father Jack Ahern, who was the pastor at St. Peter's for a long time, and when the teen center at its height was part of the teen center, and so many other folks. Brian Golden, the director of the Boston Planning and Development Agency, is here. He was a state rep in Brighton and understood the importance of the local neighborhoods. Buddy Christopher's here, who again grew up lived not too far from here, lives not too far from here. There's so many people. So I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank you for making an investment in the community, keeping this important establishment open. I also, now that we're reopening, Davida Edelman is going to hold office hours in the back. So when you walk in here, I found Davida, so Davida asks me to breakfast every now and then, and just for the electeds. When she's sitting here, it's a good meeting. And it's usually, how you doing? It's when she's up there you have to worry about, because you're getting called to the office in the back. So I want to thank you for that. And my next meeting is going to be in the back. I get that. But no, just seriously, this building has a history that goes back 40 years. And when I think about neighborhood I grew up in Frank and Annissa, we had Patty's Pantry. And Patty's Pantry was there forever. It used to be the Creamery, then it was Patty's Pantry. And then when Patty's Pantry closed, and it's reopened now, but it's different. When you have places like the Little House that were there when we were growing up, and when that closes, you feel a change in the community. And it's so important to have these staples that continue to be supportive. So being here today is great, but I just want to say one last thing. Being here for the re-grand opening is important, but what's more important is you be here tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day to support the business, to make sure that this business continues to thrive. Because all the folks over here behind the counter, they're paying mortgages and rents and bills and families, and they're raising families, and they need us to support them. That's how it works. So thank you. And now I have the great honor of bringing up another person from this community. I joke with her a lot, but honestly, I don't think there's anyone that loves this community as much as Davina Edelman. You know, we've fought, we've hugged, we've been concerned, but at the end of the day, it's all about the same mission. It's about keeping the neighborhood strong and keeping the community safe. Davina Edelman.
It wasn't supposed to happen this way. I was actually supposed to introduce the mayor, but anyway, this. I mean, I am so excited. I can't tell you how excited I am today. This is an incredible event, and I really sincerely want to thank the Edmund family for sticking with it to make this happen. Marilyn, Rachel, Manny, the rest of the kids. There's so many of them. Becky, Richard, Jonathan, and Joelle, and then other family members, Oral, Mary, and all the way from Trinidad, Marilyn's sister, Rena. So the whole family is here celebrating. And then the extended family, all the folks who help make this business work from 6 a.m. or before, maybe 5:30, Timmy,
yeah.
till 2 o'clock and beyond, 7 days a week. This is coming from the heart, the people who work here, and the extended family. And that's Timmy, Chico, Al, Kim, Beth, and Jack. They toil, as I said, 7 days a week. There's a couple of other people I need to thank. Jim Conroy, who was the previous owner of this building. He was going to be here today, but he got called out of town. He did the right thing by selling this to the Edmund family. It was touch and go, but in the end, it all worked out. I also want to thank the developers that were mentioned by Jean. I think they understood the importance of this building and this business to the neighborhood, along with Cesaria's and along with Cape Verdean Association of Boston, which is at the end of the building. Thank you for coming, Paulo de Barros. And then there's Jean Dubois. Okay, I don't know how much I can really thank her. She never says no. When she was executive director of Dorchester Bay, Dorchester Bay was the community development corporation that covered this area, whether it was economic development or housing development. She was always there, and her staff, and she deserves another thanks. Please give Jean Dubois. She's retired. She did this work. She got involved pro bono. She's a consultant now, but you can tell that she really cares about this neighborhood. She was the person who hooked up the Edmund family with Esther Schlorholz, sitting right here. Wave, Esther. She's a vice president at Boston Private Bank, and she works with Peter Hollins. Is Peter still here?
Yep, I'm here.
There he is. And then Jose Luis Rojas, who really worked on one-on-one. There he is. So what we're celebrating here today is what we should be having in all the neighborhood business districts. Business owners who are residents of this community or any neighborhood, who reflect the people who live in that neighborhood. The business owners being able, with technical assistance and assistance from lending institutions like the Boston Private Bank, the city, to be able to purchase the spaces where their businesses are located. You know, whether it's on their own or working cooperatively or collectively with other businesses in the same vicinity. This is what we need to see more of in this city. local business districts are the heart of the economy of this city. So I hope that this will be just, you know, one of the first, and I know there are some other business districts that are looking at this, but we need to make this a priority in order for this city to succeed. And I guess I don't need to introduce the mayor. He's lucky. He's lucky. But this gentleman back here, he really cares about this neighborhood. Even though he was a state rep for the district adjacent here, he was always here working with whoever the state rep was or is about to be. And people work cooperatively. And that's what we need to do more of in this neighborhood. I really want to thank you all for coming. I don't really get excited too often, and I don't smile that much. Even Billy Lambert down at Lambert's, you know, for years and years, he didn't even know what my real name was. He just kept calling me Smiley. But I am smiling today, so thank you all very much.
Okay, we'd like to bring up from Boston Private, Jose Luis Rojas.
Thank you, Manny. And good morning, everyone. I'm Jose Luis Rojas, Small Business Lending Officer in the Community Investment Group at Boston Private. It is an honor to be here with you today to celebrate the strengthening of the small business in this neighborhood, preserving jobs and important services in our community. It is a privilege to be part of maintaining and preserving the ownership of 260 Bowdoin Street in the community. And I want to congratulate all our partners, especially Marilyn Edmund, Rachel, and Annissa. On the successful planning, financing, and purchasing of this important building for one family diner and its tenants Essaibi and CVC Unido. Boston Private is very pleased to have provided the lead financing for the purchase of the building. Boston Private has deep commitment to the community, investing in this exciting purchase of that creates economic development and opportunity that we're proud to support. Boston Private has invested more than $2 billion in community development projects like this one over the past 18 years and affordable housing. I want to recognize again my colleagues Peter Hollins and Esther Scholberts who are here today. And what's special about this project, as has been said before, is that it contributes to the preservation of 3 businesses that are important to the community. Like all of you, we believe that supporting small businesses is one of the most important ways we can help ensure that our neighborhoods not only grow, but thrive as well. We're very grateful for the support of Mayor Walsh. This is truly a collaborative project that took the vision of Marilyn, Rachel, and Manuel, and the dedication of our bank's long-term community partners, Masgrowth Capital, Dorchester Bay, Jean Dubois, and Davida Adelman, for it to come to fruition. So once again, congratulations to One Family Diner and all our partners who worked so hard to make this project move forward. Thank you.
And now if I could bring up City Councilor Frank Baker.
Good morning, everybody. I never noticed that Davida didn't smile. Did you, Janet? I think she's smiling all the time. It's difficult to quantify how important places like this are for communities and for people to just remain connected. As we get into the future, and the more we have these, and the more we're supposedly connected through these, we're becoming less and less connected. And it's places like this in the neighborhoods that allow us to come down, see Shirley, and see Janet, and see whoever else we need to see. So thank you, Manny. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Rachel, for putting your time and energy here. I actually owned a restaurant for 8 years. I know how much hard work goes in there. You never get the call when someone says they had a great meal. You get the call when the AC's out or when the heat's not working or something like that. Very, very difficult. But it's a real commitment on the family's part to stay here and believe in this community and become, not become, but remain part of this community. And I thank you. And I've never been in the back room yet, Mr. Mayor, but we'll see. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day, and congratulations again.
Thanks again, Frank Baker. I'd like to bring up City Council President Andrea Campbell.
saying my name correctly. You're wrong. Thank you, Davida. Davida is a D4 resident. She lives in my district. I claim Davida and Janet. When I started my campaign for Boston City Council about 2.5 years ago now, one of the first people I met with as a candidate was Davida and Janet. And where did we come? We came right here. We had an incredible conversation about the district, the needs, and they believed in me from the very beginning. So thank you. Thank you to this diner for bringing people together, as Councilor Baker said. I also met with Rep. Cavallo here when I was a candidate, so this is a truly special place. But I don't think we're actually getting to the magnitude of what this means. You know, this community often gets talked about in a negative way. Of course, we have unfortunate incidents like those tires being slashed and me seeing those when we're driving here, and the anger in me that someone would do that in this community. But the positive doesn't get talked about enough. This is a big deal. To keep a small business open, owned by someone local, who was a woman and a woman of color and family owned, that is rare in many communities. You know, I don't know how much, the media heard about this event, but I wish I saw more of them here to talk about how big of a deal this is, not only for this neighborhood, but for the entire city of Boston. I'm extremely proud to represent this district. Mattapan is also my other neighborhood. I live in Mattapan. Those are my biggest neighborhoods. And I'm always going around talking about the beauty of this neighborhood. Not only the people who live here, the children that graduate and go off to do incredible things, our law enforcement, our community activists, of course, our state electeds, our mayor who obviously loves this neighborhood. But I just want people to know, when you leave here and you spread the word about what happened this morning, know that it is a big deal. And so I'm honored to be here to thank the family, to thank Jean, who is, yes, awesome, to thank Davida for her hard work, to thank the community for their hard work and dedication, but also to thank your incredible team and staff members that prepared this great coffee, all these refreshments. We just showed up and started eating it, so thank you. And the coffee is always good, so thank you. God bless you. And I will continue to be a customer. We will continue to come here to support you. So thank you very much, and thank you, Mayor Walsh, for your support on this.
And now if I can bring up Anita, Essaibi, George. Did I say that right?
No, it's okay. I'll correct you. Good morning, everyone. Annissa Essaibi, George, Councilor-at-Large. And I just want to congratulate everyone who had a part in today, up to and including the bank, for making this investment and creating this partnership and this opportunity. Ownership is so important to long-term success and long-term stability. And when we create opportunities, when we lend a hand in creating these opportunities for businesses to stop being a tenant and to be an owner and to have some real ownership in their future and their success, that stability is not only for them as business owners, but for that community at large that we've talked a lot about this morning. And it's the only way to truly anchor your relationship with this community. So congratulations on this success for everyone who had a very direct hand in it. And I appreciate the most the mayor's comments about being here today is wonderful, but making sure that you're here tomorrow and next week and the week after. So congratulations, the food is great, and I've already eyeballed what I'm taking to go. So thank you and congratulations.
Nick Collins, would you like to come up and say something?
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nick Collins. I'm the relatively new state senator for the district. I've come to what I knew as Ashley's and now One Family many times. And as the mayor pointed out, communities have had restaurants and community spaces like this that we've lost. And we had one of these in South Boston on Broadway, what was called Ashley. So I feel like I've been eating here for a long time. But it's a great symbol. Davida hit it on the head. This can happen when the community comes together, when their officials come together, when conscientious banks and businesses come together to provide what I see as a stabilizing force throughout all the change and economic development. That's positive, as the mayor said, but we want to make sure that there's some constants in our community. So this is great, because it's not just going to impact the business here, but also the business next door and the nonprofit that does such great work at the end of the building. So I'm honored to be here as a state senator and to tell you that I'm committed to work with the city and the state to make sure that we can do this, not just here, but in other places across Boston in our district. So thank you all, and thanks for having me say a few words.
Before we do the ribbon cutting, I'd like to take this time on behalf of me, my family, to thank the mayor for coming out. And, you know, he has a busy schedule, and also all the representatives for coming out. Thank you very much.